Run, DK, run! Let's open the black book. Hey, yo, what's up, everybody? It's me, Joey P. Joe Pisapia, and welcome to another glorious edition of the Fantasy Black Book.
Black.
Right here on the In This League Podcast Network. It is me, Joey P. It is the Welsh. It is Scott Bogman, and it's you. And we are talking all things NFL, wrapping up the week that was, looking ahead to the waiver wire, the week that's coming, all of those good things for you. Antonio Brown is back in the NFL. Odell Beckham tore his ACL. There's a lot of things going on, but first and foremost, Mr. Welsh, your 49ers gave a good shellacking to my Patriots. And after, again, I've been a Patriots fan since 1993. I go back through Pete Carroll. I go back all the way through Parcells, all of those guys. And I have never in my life turned off a Patriots game that was on TV. I could not watch it. I was disgusted with the effort, the execution. I keep saying it everywhere, so I'm going to say it one more time. The league is passing the Patriots by. They used to get by with execution with the greatest quarterback of all time, making up for the lack of talent on the roster. That is not the case anymore. I don't care how many guys are out with COVID who didn't play the season. I don't care what's going on this year where they missed practice time. I don't care. This was absolutely awful. Congratulations. You got a big W. Jimmy G got his revenge.
I'm actually shocked to hear, like, I'm with two people that just don't shut off the game. Like, you're like, at 27 years, I shut off games like 5 or 6 times a season.
Well, you're a Niners fan.
But it doesn't matter. You guys put yourself through. Who are all of you people out there that put yourselves through this misery? I am going to shut the game off if the team isn't trying and they look like garbage. Why would I sit through an hour and a half of a team? Maybe they could come back by 30. No.
Well, I'm not used to that. I am spoiled. I am a spoiled
Revenge
brat.
of the Sith on replay I'd rather watch than the Niners losing by 30. Why would you do that?
Well, let me tell you, Hayden Christensen might have a better chance playing quarterback than Cam Newton right now.
From my point of view, the Niners are evil.
Spectacular. Oh, but seriously, look, I don't want to spend too much time on this one because it was all of them. And
why not?
Look,
let's do it.
He's really trying to sweep this right under the rug. Right off the bat, we do this game.
I led the show with it, for God. Look, Jeffrey Wilson was amazeballs. I mean, look at where we're at. Third string running backs getting 150-yard days with millions of touchdowns. And now, who knows? Is it going to be Hasty next week? I don't know. Does it matter, Welsh? Because it seems like whoever's got the lead back situation here is the guy that is actually fantasy worthy here.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a little bit tough. We did get some clarity because Bogman and I were talking about this over on the ITL Football Pod. One of the oddities was what happened with McKinnon. Like, where did he go? He was non-existent. The week before, they still were kind of going away from McKinnon, and Hasty was getting run. So if Jeffrey Wilson Jr. were to miss this game, we kind of thought, well, they're trending that they're going to give some carries to Hasty. Jeffrey Wilson, amazing game, 3 touchdown, gets knocked out. It goes to Hasty. And I was sitting going, well, what the hell happened? Is there a doghouse situation? They said this morning that it was a planned rest, which was hilarious to me because I'm like, are we talking about the 5th pitcher not pitching on the 5th day? What do you mean a planned rest for a running back? When do we do that? But it was a planned rest because of the workload that
they knew they were going to beat the crap out of the pitcher.
Yeah, I mean, that's what that tells me.
I guess
in limited time, I thought Hasty looked good, though. I saw him.
I think and I totally agree with that. I think Hasty is one of my must pickups this week because I know they said planned rest, but you've got a Seahawks team, which they'll try to sling the ball next week. But if they're going to be down, they're still going to try to establish the run regardless of the point. I think it's an even split, and I think they're going to find some success with it. And I think there's a possibility that McKinnon does go away a tiny bit. So I don't think Hasty is like, numero uno or anything like that, because for them to go out and just say this is a planned rest, McKinnon will still get run, but Hasty's going to be heavily involved in that. And he did look pretty damn good. I think it was like 50-something yards on 9 carries. I would move forward feeling pretty comfortable about that, but the Niners just churn him out. I mean, Jeffrey Wilson Jr., 3 touchdowns against the stupid Patriots, but all they could do was run. Jimmy Garoppolo sucks, but Jimmy Garoppolo,
but that was so frustrating. It was so frustrating because they're not that good and they got absolutely pwned. Bogman, are you somebody that supports planned rest, or are you out there picketing in front of it?
No, and planned rest.
there?
Yeah. I would planned rest for a football
it's
team.
It's the player's choice, guys. It's the player's choice.
Oh my God! Right here in the middle of voting season too. That's right. Yeah. Make sure you vote for either way, whichever way you feel, planned rest or no planned rest. Whether starting.
Well, it depends. It depends whether or not you think a running back is alive as soon as he's activated. I think that's.
I was trying to form an eligibility thing here, and you got it, Joe.
I got it.
Yeah,
this is what we do here. All right, let's just sink into the misery. We're here. Let's just do it before we get to all the great fantasy stuff. And there was actually some great football. Your Pittsburgh Steelers were great. We'll get to them in a second. Let's talk about the crap fest first. Dallas. Oh goodness. Oh. It was like watching a car run over a small animal over and over and over again. That's what it felt like. And then the fact that Andy Dalton got lit up, and then it just seemed like nobody cared on Dallas. Like there was no revenge.
Yeah, even Mike McCarthy was like, all our guys did was check to see if he was okay. And like, I can guarantee you, if someone did that to Roethlisberger, Pouncey would have them on the ground, beating the bejesus out of them at midfield. So
that tells you everything you need to know about Dallas. And really here's the thing. Washington, God love him, and Antonio Gibson had a great game in this one. We were thinking it might be McKissick because that's the way the trend was going, and we were wrong. It was actually Antonio Gibson, which is great. I'm all for that.
I said Antonio a little bit involved in the passing game
because I thought he was still cheap. Yeah.
I will take the hit on that one by myself. Thanks for leaving me on the island. I appreciate it.
But you don't want to give me credit for my Antonio Gibson call. Now I've made it 6 weeks in a row, and it finally paid off. But I did make it again.
But here's the question: if Washington had just handled their business 2 weeks ago against the Giants, they would be 3-win team with 3 wins in the division, and they would be in the driver's seat for the NFC East. Let's let that sink in for a second.
It's not like they can still be far off. I mean, the whole division is terrible.
I can't comprehend. I'll just be honest with you. I can't comprehend who Dallas is right now because, like, I get that they've been playing bad and they had a little bit of bad stretch and Dalton coming back in an adjustment. I saw this game and I was like, this is easy Dallas. This is Dallas get right game. You've got the wideouts. You've got Elliott. You can reform this offense around Andy Dalton. It's a Washington team that's offense is a little bit wonky. So is your defense going to get exposed? They look like the Jets. They're so bad. They're so bad. It is. I can't even comprehend. I think somebody said, like, when's the last time Washington looked like they were better put together than the Dallas Cowboys? When did that happen?
And it makes you realize in the NFL too, we always talk about how it's all about the quarterback position, right? And then here's an opportunity where you see this, and we know the defense has been bad, but the games have been competitive because Dak Prescott has been able to keep them competitive. When you take that quarterback away, oh my God! And who knows who's going to start? You think it's going to be this kid? Is it going to be my Paisan starting this week? Are they going to sign somebody else? What's going to happen here?
No,
boys?
I think
Colin Kaepernick.
Right.
Yeah, there we go. Should. But no, I think it's going to be Ben DiNucci. I think it's going to be Joe's cousin starting this week.
Hey, look, my cousin Ben wants to play a little quarterback. Quarterback.
Once a DiNucci, always a DiNucci.
Hey.
You know what I'm saying?
How is he not on the Giants, by the way? Like, it just fits so well with the Giants, but not in Dallas. But yeah, I think it is going to be DiNucci because Dalton went into concussion protocol. That was a brutal hit that he took. That's the kind that retired Trent Green. I was talking about that with all the guys in our group me on ITL that I think Pecco took a shot like that on Trent Green and his head ricocheted off of the turf, and this was his 11th concussion, so that was a wrap for him after that.
Terrible.
So
what do you do now with all your Cowboy shares too? I mean, Cooper was okay in this game, but I mean, you just have to start trouting him out there, or no? Do you sit? I mean, you're not sitting Ezekiel Elliott, are we? I mean, what are we doing here?
No, they're going to have to feed Zeke moving forward. That has to be.
I know, but we keep saying that, and every week was like 12 carries. And I don't know what to do here.
But they got down real quick in this game, and
I don't care if you get down real quick. He's still the best. Like, keep him on the ball. This is what Baltimore does. They get down. They go, let's not do the thing we're really good at, and let's just stop doing that now because we're down by 14. It's just dumb.
Honestly, here's my biggest question: is do you guys think that McCarthy lasts longer than one season here?
No, he's done. He is done. One and done.
I mean, this is epic disaster. I don't think that Jerry Jones anybody could have even imagined. Like that was even a possibility. I think it would be on the table if they just keep losing, that Mike McCarthy doesn't finish the season. Like, what's the point? Why let the guy finish the year when you know you're going to move on? The only thing that saves it is if they pulled off what like the Niners did a few years ago, end out 5 straight wins and put this shit back together a little bit. But Dallas Cowboys have a higher standard. And that's what I think the realization had to come into play, that the standard that they needed to be held by is gone. That doesn't exist anymore, because I held them to a standard of benefit of the doubt that the Dallas Cowboys are talented enough on offense, regardless of Andy Dalton. They've got a line they can work with, and the defense can probably be managed that you could beat a team like Washington when you've had your back against the wall. Guess what? That's gone. The standard in Dallas is gone for this season, and this team is an epic disaster. And back to your original question, Joe, I would be a little bit worried about the shares across the board. Logic says that Ezekiel Elliott should be fed a whole bunch more, and you've got 3 talented wide receivers. I don't know where the trust is. If I could clean my hands of Ezekiel Elliott, I think I might do it this year, because how are they going to move the ball? Ezekiel Elliott also thrives on catching and the offense being able to drive down the field. Mm-hmm. If I could get someone that still is, full on high end RB1 on Elliott, I would move on.
Would you take, somebody asked me this morning, would you trade Ezekiel Elliott for Josh Jacobs?
Jacobs has been struggling. I wouldn't do that. No,
I agree. I agree. I said the same thing. I'd rather have Ezekiel Elliott than Jacobs. So
yeah, you got to give me like a better. I mean, here's one. Let me.
There's no better. There's the better.
I got a weird one for you.
Okay.
Ezekiel Elliott or James Robinson rest of year.
Well, it's funny because Robinson just resurrected himself this week after 3 horrible years. But I don't. I'd probably still go Zeke, but I get the point. Honestly, if you offered me Connor, I might take Connor.
Oh, I mean, as soon as you trade for Connor, he
gets hurt. That's
the thing there.
Except it'll happen.
But the offense is better.
One more.
Elliott or Clyde Edwards-Helaire?
Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Easy. Done.
Bogman's going to say Elliott.
Yeah, I want the young guy. I don't care if Le'Veon Bell's there. I don't care. Give me the young guy in the great offense with the great quarterback, and I'll take my chances. Yeah. What about you, Welsh? Would you say you're not answering? Why aren't you answering? Why can't you break the tie? You got to break the tie.
What are you doing?
At least break the tie.
This is not a place for fence sitting here. The Welsh. Are you? What was our argument before, Joe? What were we talking about? The pro what? What were we? I can't even remember.
Yeah. Well, you
try not to say the real world.
Planned resting, right?
Yeah. Are you planned resting or not? Come on.
I'm gonna say
does life started activation for running backs or what?
I'm gonna go with Elliott still. But I would like to clean. I guess I'm kind of creating a situation where I'm like, hey, I'd like to move off and try to get close to even value. But what is even value in my mind? Because you're not getting Henry, you're not getting Kamara. I'm not sure I know what that even value looks like right now.
What a great non-answer. That's terrific. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Well, when is your political career beginning?
I was gonna say.
Welsh.
I approve this message.
I'm the Welsh, and I approve this message.
I'm not going to go and do this. There is a political ad that is so insane.
How insane?
I thought it was a joke. I'm not gonna, but I was watching.
I've seen a couple of those.
Okay, we're going to talk about it off.
I thought it was a sketch.
Okay, because I watch the Walking Dead series, but I don't ever watch it live. So I go on the app and I watch the website on EMP. And I'm sitting in bed last night, and I'm like, all right, I'm going to watch one of these. And this ad comes on, and I'm like, what is this? And it keeps going, and then after it's paid for by, and I'm like, that was a real ad. Like, what? It's the most insane political ad I've ever seen in my life, and it's amazing from top to bottom. We'll talk about it.
I've seen some of them as well. They are pretty amazing. What you get out there nowadays. All right, let's talk about your Steelers. This was a good game. This is a great game. This is what we all wanted, was a big matchup here. This Titans and the Steelers, right? And it was all Steelers in the first half, and then here you go. All of a sudden, you get the Titans coming back here. Great game for AJ Brown. My big takeaway here in this, Boggs, is that AJ Brown is a star. AJ Brown is a wide receiver 1. If you had any concerns about AJ Brown, I think going into this year, I can't imagine going into next year you have those same concerns, because the dude is just a stud. And then on top of that, obviously you have the missed field goal by Gostkowski. Everybody knows another terrible loss there for them. They should have tied this game and gone to overtime, and it would have been fun to see. But Deontay Johnson is really grinding my gears, because I
He's
can't
the
get him
one.
healthy. And then I get him healthy, and I don't want to start him because I'm worried about Juju and Claypool and all these other things. Did these guys all pass him by? And then I get 2 touchdowns from Deontay Johnson. So please help me. I don't know what to do anymore.
Deontay is the one. Deontay is the one moving forward. Ben targets him early and often in every game. So Deontay is the one. I think the confusion is going to be between Juju and Claypool moving forward. I would expect more Juju than Claypool moving forward, but I think we're going to see every once in a while Claypool is going to creep up and have an enormous game. They just didn't get him involved very much at all in this game. I'm surprised they didn't run a reverse with him or anything, especially in the second half when a lot of the offense wasn't working. It was surprising to not see Claypool get just a little bit more involved. I mean, they had a nice run with Ray McCloud early in the game. So I was really surprised to not see Claypool get in there. And I think they'll rectify that next week against Baltimore. But I think moving forward, it's Deontay Johnson, if he's healthy, is the one. Juju is 2A, Claypool is 2B. And I think that's going to be the confusing one moving forward between all 3 of these wide receivers. I think Deontay's a lock. The other 2 are
you'll always guess wrong.
Yeah, probably. It's probably going to be one of those annoying things. But I think they made it. They made it a point to get Juju more involved since he hadn't been in this game. And 14 targets, 9 catches, 85 yards. Didn't get in the end zone, but they got him way more involved. So if you're a Juju owner, you can kind of breathe a little easier right now.
Maybe.
Well, yeah, and you kind of said that too. You kind of said, look, things will turn back to Juju eventually, and I agree. It's kind of like the same thing I was saying about Lockett, where everybody's losing their mind about Lockett. Well, that turned out to be true. Oh, I can't tell you how many people should I bench Lockett? Should I bench Lockett? It's like, what are you, crazy? You can't do that. You're in now. This is it.
Drake Kirkpatrick. Come on,
this
man.
is the end game. You got to go out there and you got to start him no matter what.
Tyler Lockett.
I mean, come on.
Antonio Brown is still better than Tyler Lockett.
Bogman said on the radio, week 10 on, if AB was a Seahawk, AB over Tyler Lockett.
And I stand by that. I mean,
you are giving him one of the best, if not the best quarterback in the league. I mean, I don't know if I could disagree with that. I honestly couldn't. I mean,
I'm glad that AB didn't sign with the Seahawks because I have a lot of Tyler Lockett shares. I like Tyler Lockett. I have more Lockett than I have Metcalf. But AB versus most other wideouts.
Hey, and look, we drafted him in that 16-team dynasty league, and now we couldn't. I put out a trade thing to see if anybody wanted to bite. Now that he signed, we'll see what we get. But I don't know, man. I haven't gotten any offers yet. But now that he's
play him out, I mean, I think I would. I have him in a league as well. I would listen, but you know what? Best play because I don't know if the market's there. Let AB get out there and let him do some damage and then see. Well, unfortunately, trades might be done in leagues.
Well, look, we'll talk about Tampa since we're kind of going in that direction here. We'll talk about AB first. Here's my take, Welsh, and you do with it what you will. They say, who's the winners and the losers and all these things. I've been saying for weeks now, Mike Evans is a sell high. Sell him off the overall stats, sell him off the touchdowns. More than half of his points this year are from touchdowns. He doesn't look healthy to me. The hamstring seems to be a chronic issue now. This AB signing, I think, is basically confirmation of all of those fears. To me, I think that is the guy that I have circled as my biggest loser in this AB thing. What about you, Welsh? Do you think anybody's losing there?
No, I agree. I mean, the only thing I would argue maybe is a little bit how you said that. Like, I don't believe there is a sell high on Mike Evans. I don't think.
Well, 2 weeks ago there was.
I would sell.
2 weeks ago there was absolutely sell high. Well, sell fine. That's fine. Sell on Mike Evans.
I would sell Mike Evans. Yeah, I think it's very apparent. The guy that looks like he's going to be most adversely affected is going to be Mike Evans because there is a natural connection there. I think it's hard to gauge across the board. I think Gronk could be taken a little bit away from. There's been a nice connection there, but AB is going to be put more in sets and Gronk might be pushed back to more pass blocking. But yeah, I think Mike Evans is the clear-cut guy you say, oh, this is not good. And I would just change it from sell high to I just think it's a sell. I wouldn't want to sell for absolutely nothing, but I think there's somebody out there that will buy.
I have a question here, guys. We're going to move on to this Tampa Bay game here. And I
like how you raised your hand, by the way.
Yeah. Excuse me. I have a question.
If you want to see Bogman raise his hand, make sure you watch us on the YouTube page because you can not only listen to the show, you can watch us on YouTube but in this league. So go subscribe, click the little subscribe button. You get the notification when the show drops. You can see all of our faces as we make these jokes and all these things going on.
It is fair. It is fair because it's a radio thing where, like, you know, you'll see us like do this, like the break thing for breaks. But how Bogman did that, I've never seen in my life before. It was like, no, excuse me, I have a question.
I don't want to move on before we get.
Yeah, he was
Leonard
like Columbo.
Yeah,
excuse me. One more
thing here, guys.
All right,
I'm just going to ask you guys one more thing here.
Yeah, okay? Go ahead.
Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones. Are we closer to 50-50 on those guys now? After seeing what happened, Ronald Jones did get the touchdown. Fournette came about 3 inches short of a touchdown.
We did
Joe.
bury him last week, Joe. Like,
you guys had a funeral for him, and I wasn't willing to do it.
Oh, no, you said I will do it in 2 weeks is when I believe what you said, right?
I said I wasn't willing to do it now. Obviously, I said 2 more weeks. He does nothing. Yeah, but
2 more weeks,
game one
in the
back.
fantasy playoffs in 2 more weeks, practically.
Game one back, though, he's the guy. He had more touches than Ronald Jones.
You know what? Thank God, because I had Mixon hurt. I had to start Fournette. It didn't matter anyway, but at least I had the option. At least it wasn't an embarrassment. And I don't know. I mean, it's got to be if you're the Ronald Jones owner, you got to be furious right now because this,
especially if you've owned him in a dynasty league and you sat on him for a while and
people are making you offers and you're like, nah, Ronald Jones, RB1 future, I can't do it. And then you're looking now. Yeah, I mean, clearly it's going to get messy. And you know, we wrote off Fournette a little too soon. My problem still stands though. I just don't see what the point that you're comfortable starting him, and that makes him uncontrollable for me, unless you're in a desperate situation of bye weeks. Yes, it could get split, but there's no win here because you're going to start Fournette and he's going to get 4 carries, you know? So I don't know. And unfortunately you need like 3 weeks to really establish, you know, like where he's at. And then, like you said, trade deadlines are gone. You're probably almost into the playoffs. It's just, Fournette is a disaster for me across the board. I just don't see how he's going to get enough run to be super startable, but you know, we did write him off a little too soon, Boggs.
Oh, no, absolutely. It was anger. I was speaking out of anger, and I'm fine with understanding I was speaking out of anger, but I was also speaking, Boggs, in all fairness, to how good Ronald Jones looked in those games. I watched that Thursday night game. I watched this past week, not this Sunday, but the Sunday before. I had him in the DFS lineups. We talked about on the show, and he was 5,800 on FanDuel, and he was awesome. I'm looking at him like, okay, it seems like the page has been turned. No, turn the page back. And it's Leonard Fournette again. And like I said, I'm glad, but I can't say that I'm not surprised.
Well, there's something to this. Number one, with Bruce Arians and switching up running backs and all that stuff that he's kind of been known to do. But there's also something with who's going to be Tom Brady's big go-to guy in any week, anywhere, anytime. You know, it's always somebody different. This week it was Scotty Miller. In a couple weeks it'll be AB. A couple weeks ago it was Mike Evans. Rob Gronkowski's getting mixed in now, like the Welsh mentioned before. So there is something to be said about just the people playing with Tom Brady have more and more of a different look and feel every single week. But I tell you what, for Leonard Fournette and Ronald Jones, you can start them both next week against the Giants. And then they have a tougher one against the Saints, but then they play the Panthers.
Do they, though?
After that.
You know, the Saints defense is not very good. You know what? I don't know if there is a tougher one against the Saints anymore. I really don't.
Well, they stopped Mike Davis this week. So, you know, maybe they're just tougher for running backs.
Maybe. All. I guess we'll find out. By the way, Tom Brady was pretty good in this game. 369, 5 touchdowns, right? He had what he fell in the end zone.
Pretty solid. Looks way better than Bill Belichick with Cam.
Yeah. So much for the system quarterback. Are the Bucs the favorite in the NFC right now, in your opinion? They're a good defensive team too.
Yeah, I think they are because they beat the Packers so soundly last week. So
let me put it like this. Have to be. I think they're the most complete team, maybe than the favorite. I'm not sure if they're the favorite, but I think they might be the most complete team. Where you know the Seahawks they're a force, but they have no secondary defense whatsoever. The Packers seem to consistently game to get. I think they're inconsistent in some of the completeness as a team. The Saints wonky, you know, I mean, the 49ers are absolutely nothing. So I think maybe you could say the favorite, but I think they're the most complete NFC team, which inherently might make them the favorite.
I think they got to beat the Saints. I think that's the big thing. They lost, week 1 to the Saints. That was more of them giving the game away than losing it with all the turnovers that they had. But I think that's the test right now is the Saints and Bucks. So,
all right, let's talk about those Seahawks more when we come back. Don't go anywhere. More Black Book right after this. All right, everybody. So Seattle had a pretty good lead there in this game. Things were going their way. Russell Wilson was perfect, but Kyler Murray would not go quietly into that good night. And I fell asleep on this game when I went to overtime. Wait. I fell asleep. I woke up in the overtime right when they missed the field goal. I literally got to watch the missed field goal, and I went, "Oh, what's going on? Wait, overtime? What?
Like, where am I?
Where am I? What's happening? I'm an old man, and I can't stay up past 9:30 to watch the football game." And Kyler Murray, I think, is basically, you're seeing the evolution here at quarterback in this game, right? Like 10 years ago, these guys were not playing the quarterback position. You're getting Russell Wilson, Kyler Murray. The athleticism of these quarterbacks has really changed things. And the line here for Murray, 360, 67 rushing yards, 4 touchdowns. Kenyon Drake gets hurt in this game. Chase Edmonds I can only cross my fingers and hope that Chase Edmonds has value going forward here. DeAndre Hopkins at 10
have huge value moving forward.
Well, yeah, but Drake's injury isn't serious. So
that's what I mean. I know Drake sucks, but they don't. And that's the problem.
I mean, it's true. They keep going back to him.
And I've said, I was
2.4 yards a carry for Drake, 11.6 for Edmonds. And Edmonds had 5 carries and Drake had 14.
I don't know.
Makes no sense.
And part of this doing what we do here is having good information, having good, analysis, and then also understanding when the trend is going in the other direction. And everything that was trending in the right way last year for Kenyon Drake is trending in the wrong way this year. And it's just so obvious right now that Edmonds is the better long-term play. Obviously, in this one, too, you had a huge game for Tyler Lockett, 15 catches for 200, 3 touchdowns. Chris Carson got hurt in this game, too. So, Welsh, let's start with you on this one. What was your takeaway from this one where, obviously Seattle gave this game away. And defensively, this is kind of what they do. Most of the time, they eke it out. This time, they kind of got caught.
And will you goddamn stop grinning every time Tyler Lockett's name is brought up and looking at me? I like Tyler Lockett. I think Antonio Brown is better than him. Stop grinning like an a-hole every time someone says Tyler Lockett's name.
I was actually grinning because your cat put his butt directly in your face, and you just don't care anymore. The cat was in the shot with his tail flapping around your face, and you're just like, "Yep, cat's butthole." But also, yeah, Tyler Lockett does make me laugh as well for both of those.
Why does that cat need constant attention from you?
I mean, every single show.
Talking to him. So that's what it is. He thinks I'm talking to him. So
at least he didn't put his butthole in the camera like he likes to do some episodes.
That's on his OnlyFans. That's on the Captain OnlyFans.
Yeah, so. He put it into your face is what was making me laugh. And then it made me think, oh, butthole in Bogman's face, Tyler Lockett, and then put it all together and stuff like that. The Seahawks just let this go. Russell Wilson even said this was on him. This was Seahawk offensive mistakes. Their defense is not great. And what's so weird is the NFC West for, a couple years had this like power defense division of like the Seahawks, the 49ers, the Rams, all garbage now. It's all garbage across the board. There's a couple shining spots like Jason Verrett with the Niners, one of the best corners in the league. And you've got a few of those things, but it's all trash. So it's all built off of how effective the offenses are. So my takeaway is that I don't really take away anything differently here. Lockett, DK Metcalf was shut down. Lockett jumped up. No big surprise. I think Metcalf is the consistent still across the board. I don't know how bad Carson is going to be, so Hyde will pick up. But if Carson's out, I think it's just more throwing. And it's going to be next week or this coming week will be the change to make sure that Metcalf is more involved. So it's going to be the turnover because Metcalf is a superhero. And after that, chase down a Buda Baker, he's just a legend. He's an internet legend right now. So I think the receivers are the big guys. Russell Wilson's still to trust. There's nothing new to take away from the Seahawks, except that I think they might not run a whole bunch moving forward.
Yeah, well, look, I mean, even with Carson, he was catching more touchdowns necessarily than rushing. That's kind of where they're at right now in Seattle. I wanted to make an earlier transition when you said butthole. So let's do that. Speaking of buttholes, let's talk Odell Beckham is out for the year with a torn ACL. That's right. This is why you watch the Black Book. You listen to the Black Book because they don't take everything so seriously. But it's a terrible injury. We wish Odell the best, obviously, here. And look, it's opened up some playing time here in the Browns offense for some other guys. We have the People's Champion. We also have Rashad Higgins, who is going to be useful here. Harrison Bryant had a good game. Baker Mayfield probably had his best game as a pro, but Boggs, how much do you take out of this? Because it seems like the best Baker Mayfield games always come against the Cincinnati Bengals. So I'm not getting as crazy about this game as everybody else is.
No, and you shouldn't. I mean, this is the NFL memes has the cycle of Baker Mayfield games. It's, play like crap, to say that everyone's doubters, get a chip on your shoulder, play a great game against a terrible team, then play like crap again. Like it's just a never ending Baker Mayfield cycle, it seems. And, Chubb's going to come back at some point, and they're going to have that two-headed monster of Hunt and Chubb back and ready to rock. Take the ball out of Baker's hands whenever you can. And but I think Higgins is the guy.
Me too.
I agree.
I like DPJ a lot, and I said on the ITL podcast, if he hadn't come out in this wide receiver class, I think he would have been a much higher pick and way more valued for fantasy. But he's kind of buried on the depth chart behind OBJ and
not anymore.
Yeah. I mean, there's some,
Landry ain't healthy
chance.
Either.
There's a chance for DPJ to become a pretty good wideout this year, but I think if I'm betting, I'm going to take Higgins. Because
it's funny you say that because I've been talking about Higgins for about 2 weeks or so anyway, saying, Higgins is pretty good. And every time you see him out there, he's good. And I wonder kind of the war of attrition, if he's just a good ad now, just speculative, having no idea. None of us did that he would have this injury to Odell and have more playing time show up there. Joe Burrow showed up, 406 passing yards for him, 4 touchdowns. And look, it's Boyd, it's Higgins, it's the same old thing. AJ Green should have had a better day than he did. I know he had 7 for 82, but should have been a bigger day for him. But Tyler Boyd and Higgins are just like the guys. I feel like you just leave them alone every week, right, Welsh?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's definitely the approach. Is I put them out there. I did find it interesting that Bernard just couldn't do anything in the rushing game without Mixon. I mean, he was able to be more involved and 5 for 59 with the score in the pass game. So I wonder if Bernard can continue to be a little bit more involved in the pass game moving forward. But clearly, the team loses the momentum of being able to build off of the pass through the rush without Joe Mixon.
And Mixon's going to be out next week apparently too, so we're going to
throw the ball. So I expect this is another and I think Burrow has got, who the hell is it? Tennessee that they're playing?
Yeah,
that sound
right?
Yeah,
I mean, that could be another opportunity for him to. I mean, good defense, but they're going to sling the ball. This could be another.
Is it a good defense though? They gave up a ton of yards last.
The matchup is really good for quarterbacks, so I think it was like a top 10 type of matchup. So I love Burrow. You got to love Burrow this coming week because he's just going to sling the ball. So Higgins, Boyd, like clockwork.
Well, you have the Lions win a game from the Falcons here. Todd Gurley could have fallen down sooner. Didn't.
No, I like this. I like this so much more. Yeah,
because he got you fantasy points. You like.
Well, he got me that extra touchdown in the couple leagues that I have, Gurley, and it's always fun to watch the Falcons lose in the fourth quarter. Come on now,
it's what they do best. It really is.
I think it's going to be fun for like one more week, and after that, it's going to start getting sad. So,
I think it's pretty sad.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I'm still enjoying it. So in a week or two, when I start to think it's sad, then they can start pulling some games out at the end here. But this was just, I mean, they're inventing new ways. I remember one year watching the Diamondbacks just lose a different way every night. And I had to stop watching the games for like 3 days because they had a walk-off balk against the Dodgers. And I think that's the kind of stuff that you're getting as a Falcons fan right now. And maybe it's time to just, watch the red zone instead of watching your team lose in the fourth quarter anymore because it's sad.
Or just watch 3 quarters and then flip over.
Sure. Do whatever.
Kenny Galladay, another good game, but no touchdowns.
No touchdown, Joe.
So frustrating. By the way, is that 3 weeks in a row now?
That's 3 weeks in a row. Now I won the first 4 weeks. And now I'm looking in the rear view. You're right there.
Right here. I'm playing catch up. It took me a while. It was a new system. I had to get adjusted to it, But DeAndre Swift was okay. He was good. Not as good as we wanted him to be. Marvin Jones could have had that game. We knew we circled it. This could be
he at least showed up.
He at least showed up, but still not very exciting. I'll tell you what, the Houston Texans really don't show up anymore. Deshaun Watson still puts up fantasy numbers. David Johnson's kind of like Todd Gurley. He's alive, so he gets fantasy points. Like, I feel like both those guys are just like the most uninspired people to have, but at least you can start them every week and go, well, at least I have a running back. because pretty much everybody else in your league doesn't. Like that's
Right.
that's the sad truth about things. Like if you drafted David Johnson and Todd Gurley as your 2 running backs, at least you've had a starting running back every week. That is
You've never felt good though. You've not one week have you felt good about your running back.
It's like
situation.
walking through a minefield and
I bet
seeing
you're at
all
least
of your
3 and
other
3.
troops blow up.
I bet you're
and
3
you
and 3.
haven't.
Don't you think?
Yeah.
I bet they are at least 3 and 3. You're probably a 500 team if you did.
Yeah,
Just from the attrition of everybody else losing players every week. Cooks was okay in this one. Fuller did have a touchdown, but it was quiet. It was all about Rodgers. 4 touchdowns, big bounce back. Aaron Jones was out. Jamal Williams stepped up in a big way, had a huge day. So everything that we talked about in the DFS show, Boggs, right? That we talked about, Aaron Jones. If you just took everything against the Texans and moved it to Jamal Williams, you did great. And Devontae Adams, Welsh, 13 catches for 196 and 2 touchdowns. About as good as it gets, don't you think?
You call him Devontae Williams just now?
Did I call him Devontae Adams?
Were you also dying? Were you?
Yeah, he's
having a heart
burping
attack?
and trying to work through it. I mean, that was
Like we all have the little.
that was a
kidney
Welsh
stone.
special right there.
Yeah,
I had
that
a kidney
was,
stone I was trying to
that was like a 30-second long. I was just like, "What's happening?" Is Joe?
Every now and then,
through this burp.
every
not
now
that
and then
weirder.
I get like I'm channeling Nick Nolte, where I just go, "Oh, geez, Devontae Adams."
I mean, this was vintage Devontae Adams. We were joking a lot on ITL
Devontae
because
Williams. That's who I really wanted.
yeah, Devontae Adams. We were laughing about it because we had a listener with a Devontae Adams trade, and I was like, "Go get him," and Bogman was like, "No," but because it was a lot of dynasty pieces, there were some big dynasty pieces that were involved. And Devontae had just a massive game where he looked like the most unstoppable player. And 13, 196, 2 scores. I mean, he is the force of this offense. I think the biggest unfortunate takeaway, though, is that when Devontae eats like this, nobody else can. And you'd
Williams
love to see.
Williams was still
Well,
good.
but I'm sorry. I mean, in the past,
No other wide receiver.
No
Well, they
other
didn't have
wide
another
receiver.
He threw to a bunch of other guys that helped nobody. It was
Yeah.
like Sternberger and
Taylor.
Dale. Yeah, it was terrible. All these guys are like,
Marquez
well,
Valdez-Scantling is trash. He is he's full on garbage, 4 targets, no catches. They really have nothing else. I just don't know why this team wouldn't want to prioritize, because what happens when they lose Devontae Adams? The whole offense sputters. Go get somebody. Go do something.
Go get AJ Green, right? There you
No, go
They
get
could've
Julio
drafted
Jones from the
someone.
Falcons.
You're not going to get Julio. I just don't think Julio's going to get moved. We'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. I don't see that happening. I think he should get moved. I think everybody should. I think Atlanta should just tear the whole thing down and start over. But I don't know. It's kind of tough. New Orleans eked out a victory here against the Panthers. I was just very impressed with Teddy Bridgewater and the Panthers. They stopped the run and all. Yeah, Mike Davis had a quiet day, but it doesn't look like we're going to get McCaffrey back this coming week.
Yeah.
It looks like it's going to, because it's a short week, so it's going to be another week after. So much for that 3 to 4 weeks, right? Remember when they told you that noise in week 2? Oh, it's going to be out.
And I thought that's why they were making it sound like they weren't playing CMC on Sunday because they had the Thursday night game. And he was definitely going to be ready for that, but they didn't want him to play on short rest after this week. And now it seems like CMC is going to end up being doubtful going into that game. He really wants to play, but I don't think they're going to let him. So it looks like we're going to get Mike Davis again.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I'll tell you what, at least you got DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson, because Moore's really answered the bell too the last few weeks. Ever since that Falcon game, this was another guy that fantasy owners were just crazy about, saying, oh, where's the productivity? Robbie Anderson's getting everything. Sometimes you got to wait things out a little bit. And look, he's figured it out here with Teddy Bridgewater. He was always getting the opportunities, just weren't cashing in. He caught a huge touchdown on this one. Look, Alvin Kamara was very good. He didn't get in the end zone. That's a problem. Deontay Harris, Marquez Callaway, a bunch of guys, again, it helped nobody. Traquan Smith was nowhere to be found. Cook on National Tight End Day caught his touchdown. But I don't know, Boggs, I look at the Saints and I'm just thoroughly unimpressed by them every week.
What the hell is National Tight Ends Day?
I don't know. I never heard it. I was like, what is this?
Dude, that's all they were talking about in pregame on every show.
day.
Yeah, it was National Tight Ends
Maybe
Day.
I suck, dude, but like I am so sick of every time I see a poster like, "Oh, it's National Donut Day." Who cares? Who cares about any of that? Every day is a national something.
What's today? National what day? You keep talking.
There's definitely something. There's definitely something. I get what you're talking about.
Cat in the screen day. National Cat Day.
National Cat Day, right.
Your cat is looking at you with such disdain right now. It's the
He looks really mad. He does, but it's funny because he has the meanest looks when he's purring. Like he's purring really loud right now. He looks like
that. I want that screenshotted. That look that when Bogman looked at his cat, the cat was looking at you like, "Hey, idiot, you don't know what National Tight End Day is."
Yeah. Oh. But you're right. I mean, outside of Alvin Kamara, it's been fairly quiet. I mean, Michael Thomas has been hurt. Manny Sanders was super quiet for like 3 weeks and then had 12 catches for 120 yards last week, but then ended up on the COVID list. Traquan Smith, we all expected to step up. He had a couple nice games early, but this was the game where he should have been huge, and he did nothing. And it was all Marquez Callaway, who I told Welsh I picked up in a league and benched him 5 minutes before the game started, which was a huge mistake. But yeah, I mean, you're right. This offense outside of Breeze, and even starting Breeze, is a little dicey because they keep giving Taysom Hill so many opportunities near the goal line. It's obnoxious.
I bet the Cowboys wish they had Taysom Hill right now.
Hey, I found out what today is, by the way.
Oh, I did too. It's National Deployment Day.
Oh, no, I found something different.
Oh, that's what I found. National Deployment Day, which is not funny. That's not funny.
No.
Tomorrow's National Beard Day, according to this one. Tomorrow.
Well, this one says today, this is Monday, is National Crazy Day.
Well, that's every day here on the podcast.
That's what it says. I'm going to look at this other site here. There's a calendar. Is there really a national day for every?
Oh, yeah, for everything. Oh, my kids have a calendar day of all these days. It's just... there you go. That's it. All right. On that note, we're going to take a national break. We come back. We're going to wrap things up here. Put a bow on it. Nice for you. You're listening to the Black Book. We'll be right back after this.
National suck.
All right. Welcome back, everybody, to the Black Book. And the Kansas City Chiefs are great at football, but frustrating at times in fantasy. So in this game, you didn't get Travis Kelce. I guess he didn't know it was National Tight End Day. You got a couple of catches from Cole Harmon. Tyreek Hill had his touchdown. It was hilarious. You had Le'Veon Bell show up there and get dressed, which is nice. We'll see next week against the Jets. I'm sure he'll show up there. I cannot wait. That is must-see television next week. I cannot wait to see Le'Veon Bell play Adam Gase.
I want to see the line. What do you I'm going to go
19.5. I already
19 and a half. Okay.
19 and a half right now.
All right.
Oh my God, is it really?
I was going to guess 20.
Now it's 19. Yeah, it moved.
Are you going to take Kansas City?
I don't know, but this week I was telling everybody the line was too big with the Jets. Yeah, in fact, I called them the show. I was like, that's too big. Buffalo's not that good. Sorry, folks. They're just not. Not that the Jets are any good, but it's very frustrating, in daily fantasy for Kansas City because they're all so expensive and they're just so good at what they do. You just don't know week to week who it's going to be. And it's the one thing that was great was the defense. Well, KC's defense was one of my favorite, and Denver turns the ball over a ton. Lindsey got hurt in this game. We'll see more to come on that. Melvin Gordon did have a touchdown and 17 carries for 68 and a couple catches. But look, this was kind of a one-sided affair here with Kansas City. The Chargers.
No, hold on real quick before we move on. Yeah, Joe, sure. I want you to give pronouncing Albert O's name a shot here.
The big O?
Mm-hmm.
Aquagbanam.
It's not bad. It's Aquabunum.
Aquabunum.
During the draft, they kept saying Aquabanon.
Hit that big boy. Boom.
Aquabunum.
Aquabunum, a fragrance for men.
Albert O. Yeah. By the way, you should hear John Lobb trying to pronounce his name. It's a lot of fun.
Aquabundum. I saw him.
Aqua beat him.
Aqua boom boom. I saw him in college, and he's amazing. I love John. John, that is my impression of John Lobb.
You're not yelling loud enough, Joe.
Yeah,
that's not a real.
I don't want to break the microphone.
If we're done with that game, can I throw in something? I could have tried to pigeonhole this in a 2-minute drill and whatever. But do you remember a little bit earlier where I promise you on everybody in my family's life, I didn't see this. And I dropped the Ezekiel Elliott or James Robinson rest of season.
Mm-hmm.
I just happened to see that probably about the same time I said that, Fantasy Pros, they were aggregating my brain, said and put a poll out, who would you rather have rest of season? They did say half-point PPR scoring, Elliott or Robinson. What do you think the results are? There's over 7,000 people voting.
Of course there is.
90% Zeke.
Yeah, I would say something like 75% Zeke.
64% James Robinson.
Whoa.
I mean, you want to talk about recency bias? I mean, that is the most obvious example of recency bias I've ever heard in my
That's
life.
on Fantasy Pros' account. I just want to throw that out if someone saw that. Like, I didn't see it.
Twitter is. Twitter is hot takes and recency bias and funny memes, and that's all it is. Justin Herbert, another good start for him. 347, 4 touchdowns here in a W. Keenan Allen, 10 catches for 125. Guyton keeps showing up and making big plays. Speaking of Jacksonville, James Robinson, 22 carries, 119, 4 catches for 18 and 2 touchdowns. Hey, look, I was writing Robinson off 3 games in a row at 9 points, and he responded in a big way. I think it's just really hard to trust, guys. Like, that's my thing with Robinson. It's okay, this is great. It makes me feel good about starting him, but what are the chances that you didn't bench him this week off of the last 3 weeks, which were absolutely miserable?
I mean, I didn't. I mean, I think the positive to take is that, yeah, you actually did. You're right about that. But I think the Jaguars still trust him. It's just, can you trust the Jaguars offense to do anything against their opponent? I think that's the big takeaway. And they gave him 22 carries and they still threw him the ball. It was 26 touches. And, they have not strayed from James Robinson being the guy. They just, they were having no effectiveness in the running game.
Right. And I think what we're going to see here is you're going to get a dud game from either him or Chark moving forward each week. It seems like
that's true.
This was a week where Chark was targeted 7 times and had 1 catch. The previous week he was targeted 14 times and had 7 catches. So the percentage keeps going lower and lower. By the way, I just looked up just overall points, and this is in my home league. It's a PPR league. Zeke is still second in running backs as far as points go. James Robinson is he's in the top 10, but he's at, let me see, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 2nd and 7, but Zeke, even with these last couple of not great weeks, still scoring better than James Robinson.
All right, so what's your waiver wire look like this week? Obviously, Higgins is one of them. If Hasty's still out there, I think that's another guy that's intriguing. Welsh, how about for you? Who are the guys you're kind of looking and targeting going into week 8?
I mean, Hasty is kind of near the top of the list, especially if you're looking for running backs. I would monitor the Carson thing. I mean, Carlos Hyde, I know that's near the top of Bogman's list, just pending what the results come of that. I mean, we obviously know Chase Edmonds is not going to be available out there. Bogman and I, it's not a waiver wire. I really like Zach Moss if he were out there.
In the waiver wire, a lot of people dropped him because of the injury and because they needed, with the bye weeks and COVID. And
he was still under 50%. I mean, he was right on that line. 40.
Well, you know what? We didn't really talk about. That was the one game we kind of missed because it was all just field goals. But going into that game, the Buffalo Bills had 550 or so rushing yards, and 150 of them were Josh Allen. So if you took that away, they are the lowest rushing team in the NFL.
And I think that has to change. And I think Zach Moss is going to be a part of that changing because I think Singletary is moving down a little bit more. And the only other guy I'd throw out is Sterling Shepard. I'm a big Sterling Shepard guy.
Oh, yeah. Dude, as soon as he was activated Thursday night, everywhere I had him, I put him in the lineups for better or worse. I know we didn't talk about that. We don't usually talk about the Thursday game, but that was entertaining, I think, on lots of levels. I don't know. There's something about the ineptitude of that game, the snipering of Daniel Jones and the Giants having a lead and then having a chance to win the game and then blowing it and all that stuff. And the Eagles looking inept for most of the game. It's pretty amusing. Boggs, how about you? What's your waiver wire look like this week?
Well, I agree with a lot of the guys that the Welsh just said. And I'm kind of surprised Ayuk. Ayuk has to be up there as well. Debo with the hamstring injury. I think he's got to be in there. And honestly, in a deeper league, like a 14-man or deeper, LaMichael Pirine. He's starting to split with Gore. He scored the touchdown this week. It was against the Bills, who can't stop the run at all, as we saw last week from Clyde Edwards-Hilaire's best career game. But I think Pirine is a decent ad as well.
Did you know that DiNucci had more fantasy points than Sam Darnold this week?
I'm not surprised. And DiNucci, I think, had 3 completions.
Crazy.
So not surprised.
Unbelievable. All right, 2-minute drill starts right now. All right. Now, we talk all the fantasy and all these things. We talk reality. We talk all this stuff. I'm going to put this out there. I want to see if you guys agree or disagree with this statement.
Oh, boy.
The Patriots are the worst fantasy team out there, right? I don't feel good about playing any Patriots, and that even includes the defense now to a certain extent. I don't think I can say that about any other team in the NFL.
True.
And I think it's true.
True.
Yeah, I guess
true.
I'd say that's true. Like I'd feel better about starting LaMichael Pirine right now than I think.
Well, look, they've got
any
Crowder.
Patriots running back.
I mean, Crowder was hurt last week, but Crowder, Perryman, there's some guys there that I would at least consider. Mims came back and looked pretty good in his NFL debut, so keep an eye on him. Jalen Reagor comes back this week, by the way, for the Eagles too. Keep an eye on that one. But I kind of look at him like even the bad teams, there's guys out there. There's guys on Jacksonville. Certainly, there's guys.
You can't start Edelman because he's too banged up and he doesn't even play all the plays when he's healthy. I think that Cam Newton has been god awful the last 3 weeks. This is, I think you're absolutely right. This is the worst team to start fantasy players from. Easy. It's not close.
Right. We came full circle here. We started in the crap and we ended in the crap. It's hopefully though. By the way, good news also. Ron Rivera got to ring the bell. He had his last cancer treatment, which is great. So shout out to Ron Rivera. Good job there, buddy. Well done. And let's hope that maybe he makes a playoff appearance in the NFC East. Oh, it's so fun to watch. I think I'm going to put my money on Washington. I was waiting. I almost put it on the Giants before Thursday. I said, no, I will wait. I want to see how they do against the Eagles.
I'm going to stick with Philly. I'm still going with Philly.
I feel like Washington might somehow figure it out. Who knows?
I know who we're all not taking.
The Cowboy. On that note, make sure you follow us on Twitter at Bogman Sports, at Izzard the Welsh, at Joe Pisapia 17. Go check out the ITL page on Patreon and join the ITL army. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For Bogman and Welsh, I'm Joey P. We'll see you next time, kids.